is a really good league we play in, and I really just love the Big East, believe in the Big East, and it's just a monster league. And you're looking at a team here that's record isn't close to being equal to the talent on the floor, and that's, it takes teams time to get moving. Now they're starting to hit their stride. I thought they played UConn really strong last Sunday. They went to Georgetown, buried Georgetown on Tuesday night, and this is a really good St. John's team. And we don't play against records; we play against people. And if anybody doesn't think that's a really good St. John's team, you go try to guard those people. You go try to guard those players. They're really good individual players that are very, very difficult to guard. So we knew it was going to be a very difficult game. Our players had to have the mental toughness to be able to bounce back from a very tough night 48 hours ago. And I'm just proud of them for being able to bounce back. Listen to we coaches when we try to tell them that St. John's is really, really talented, and you can't be hung over what happened against UConn on Wednesday night. You got to really be ready to play, and I think you saw that. I think the fans saw a great ball game, and again, the score becomes a score based on what every player does in every individual possession. The players sitting here together with the players in the locker room, they made enough plays at enough important times to bring home a very important victory for us tonight. Now, we got a less than 48-hour turnaround to go play Seton Hall at Seton Hall in the midst of whatever ocean effect snow instead of lake effect snow. So with that, we'll just turn it over to questions.
Well, Lexi just kept talking about getting the stop, sitting down on defense, and our offense will come. So just taking advantage of the defense. Yeah, kind of just focusing possession by possession and not looking too far ahead of the game or thinking about what might just happen. Just kind of taking that possession by possession, getting stops, and going away from control. And that's kind of what it kind of came down to, is just getting important stops and out. It was a tough matchup, I would say. Probably just because we just played UConn and all the good games, so my back's still covered from that. But I would say the last play of the game, I seen that I had a step on her, so I just had to drive it, and I drove to her foot that she dropped, and I ended up with that one. I enjoy the challenge. They're great players, and obviously we didn't get the result against UConn. It came down to some defensive possessions that we could have handled better. So I just tried to focus more on the defensive end. The transfer to both offense, but they're great players. We have great coaches that scout for us, so I was able to kind of just focus more on individual players and be able to execute. The 35 was good enough, but I don't come into games like, I got 35 on the last game, I can do it again. I just take it game by game and just play my basketball. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point, especially people like Correa, because she got the mid-range pull up too. So I think it just comes down. It's not even about like who won it more. It's just like you gotta know, like, be disciplined on defense for one. I can't be, out there reaching and stuff. And then on top of, I kind of try to predict what they like to do. So like if somebody like the Casey, before they do every move, I gotta predict the Casey. If they just go straight to the basket, it's just all about predictions and just moving my feet trying to stay for me. I think I've been doing good things. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we really scout them well. So I just pay attention to scout, and like Coach said, it comes down to wanting and value. And I just tried to do it each night. I knew it was going to be a hard task because all of them are great scorers, especially Correa. I mean, she can drop 35 on any night, so I was really trying to every possession is focused on my son. Happy birthday, father. I think at the end of the game, she stepped up on defense. She kind of had trouble keeping people in front of her in the first half. So I think she really did a good job adjusting and keeping people in front of her getting stops, especially crucial stops at clutch time in the game. I agree with Sonya. I said that she dealt good with that adversity. Every game had adversity. She defended well in the second.
Well, we feel like we got beat the other night because the same players, cast of characters that really defended well in the second quarter didn't defend in the fourth quarter. UConn was 11 for 13 in the fourth quarter. They went right at us, and we didn't just grit down. And it, I just trying to explain this to you. There's no magic here as to what it's going to take for this very talented collection of individual players to go someplace special this year. They're going to have to buy into the defensive side of the ball. They're going to have to buy into rebounding, not just Aneesah Morrow. Everybody's got to rebound. Everybody's got to guard. And, that because they have a coach here that lets them shoot as often as I do, as quickly as I do, and as, I give them more freedom than most coaches. Most good defensive teams and coaches play a much slower pace offensively. Part of their defensive strategy is to keep the ball moving from side to side for a longer period of time. And I caught on TV last night, or I guess, a Missouri Valley men's game that was in the 30s. It's the point I'm trying to make here is you really you're known as a defensive coach if you keep the ball scoring. You let people shoot quickly and freely, well then people think that you don't guard anybody. And the fact of the matter is you have to guard better because you have to guard more often. And I don't know that this group has really ever bought into it yet. I think they kind of bought into it, sometimes bought into it, maybe bought into it, but we scout, they scout. And they went right at Darn on the other night at the end of the UConn game. They went right at Darn on the first half. And, we switched the matchups at halftime, and then Darian did a much better job in the second half. And this is the buy-in. Sonya Morris is a great defensive player in high school. She's got to become a great defensive player again in college. Right? The fact that you're scoring points doesn't give you the opportunity. We're not playing football. Right? We don't get to put the good offensive guys on the field and then put the good defensive guys on the field. They got to be able to do both. And so I just think that's really what this is all about tonight. And there couldn't have been a harder team to play next to UConn in the league when it comes to just pure one-on-one, ISO, take you off the bounce basketball. St. Paul's right there with St. John's here. So we're going to have our hands full again on Sunday with the same kind of a situation. I'm sorry. No, I don't know. I thought we actually got better defensively tonight. It's not like we were great. We were better. We just had a better sense of purpose, a better sense of understanding that there's a connection here to make that you're scoring when you make stops. I mean, the metrics, the numerical, the numbers in this game are simple. You get points when you make baskets, and you keep them from getting points. What am I preaching to the choir when I say that? But it's tough to get kids to understand that you're doing as much for your team. play of the night might have been Diane Rogers making the stop out in the middle of the court when they were isolating her and going right at her because that's what the scouting report says you should do. And she made a great defensive play to turn into a layup for Lexi Held, timeout, St. John's. That was probably the play of the game. I mean, and that was a defensive play. And Diane comes here as a very high school player that, makes shots from 60 feet away from the basket. So, I mean, she thinks as long as I make it a 60-footer, I'm okay. Well, tonight there wasn't no 60-footers. There was a hunker down and stop. That was really, really important. That gave us the layup in the other end. And that's the kind of, you teach it, you preach it, you practice it, and yet it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. And the one thing about this team also, though, is the experience of having had great things happen to them and for them in their lives here, and having had some pretty ugly things happen in their lives here last season. So they've been able to experience the good, the bad, and the ugly here of what these coaches are trying to preach to them. And it's not like there's something new formula this year that wasn't there last year. It's the same formula. And now they've seen what happens when they don't do it. You go, the tough stretch at the end of the season. And now they understand that there's 5 weekends to play here. Now there's 4 plus 1 weekends to play here. And what are we going to do? How are we going to hunker down? How are we going to guard every one of these teams? And they all got, we're playing the better half of the Big East right now. All right. And I think it's important to know by players. You have to know it. Our 9-2 record, our 8-2 record still had, I got to be careful because I got to make sure I'm respecting everybody here. But if you look at the standings, our 8-2 record was not against the top half of the league. And now the rest of the schedule is all top half of the league or the tougher teams in the league. All right, so we still have a lot of work to do before we can lay claim to what the players' goals are. I think it was very important tonight because I think there was an ability to have some confidence that comes from confidence of having done it before. So when we did some pretty messy things down the stretch, there's still some players here that have been through it before and can talk to each other about before. And I think that's important. And so I just think it's really important. Experience is very important. I think experience was very important in the game. We did a lot of things that were the result of experience down the stretch. Well, it's always great to see our alums. I really love the fact that we have alumni night. And like I said in the group before, when I spoke to them before the game, the beauty of this program is we get alumni out here just about every night. And so it actually becomes harder for Taylor and the administration to put together an alumni night. And I know 5 or 6 players coming and already planning to come next Friday. So they're coming next Friday. So they weren't planning to come. We do get alums out quite often. And it's just always great to see any and all of them because anything that happens with this year's team is always done on the backs of the history of the players, the blood, sweat, and tears of all the players through the years put into this. There is no such thing as just a 4-year. Everyone plays for 4 years, but those 4 years are a collection of every player's that's been here for 4 years. We're going to take a charter to New Jersey now. And there are players up there that had to drive their own cars to get that I coached. We drove our own cars across the state to Macomb, Illinois. And now we're going to get in a charter airplane tomorrow. There's players sitting up there that have that sit in the back of a van with 12 or 13 of them all crowded in the back of a cargo van playing tic-tac-toe on the frozen, on the frost coming through the window, coming through the, so I mean, that stuff can't be lost on our players. They need to learn and understand the history of the charter we got tomorrow has been earned on the backs of these alumni. So it's always great to see our alumni. Thanks everybody for covering Women's Hoops, and let's go get the hall. Let's hopefully get a plane first. It's safe. It's up to the pilot. Woo.